Okay, for this first video, I think what I'm going to do is a tutorial and a general information on astrology, what it is, like what all the signs are and the planets and how they interact. And I was trying to skip this part because I'm really bad at explaining these things, but I don't think you'll get the whole picture if you don't know the basics of it. So astrology is basically a tool. It's when you look at a natal chart, it's a snapshot of the sky when you were born. So when you were born at a certain place at a certain time, these are very specific parameters that allowed you to have certain energies that would influence your life path and give you the type of experience that you wanted to have. And how the planets play with each other also shows some of the conflicts you're going to have in life and some of the conflicts you're going to overcome. Where you see the planets in the natal chart is going to show you what areas you're going to be focused on. So this is you, and you'll see how it looks very different from somebody's like mine. So you'll see mine, all my planets are concentrated on this hemisphere. For you, they're concentrated on the bottom part. So these all things mean something, and it shows the way that person is. Let's see. It'll show you also the gifts you have, where you're lucky in life, where you're gonna have challenges. Like there's always gonna be a place, Saturn, a place in your chart where that has Saturn, and that's gonna show where you have to, it's probably going to be your biggest insecurity. You have to work on it over and over again. Saturn is a planet of longevity, which is like the good part, but also lessons you have to learn, and hard work without getting the rewards for it. And then just an area where most people tend to overcompensate because they're lacking so much over there. And then there's if you see where Jupiter is in somebody's astrology, that'll show where somebody will be lucky without even trying. So most people won't even mention this one because nobody really notices where they're lucky in life. They just notice like the bad stuff, which is normal. But it kind of like lets you know, like, wow, I didn't even realize, but I am really good, or I am really lucky in this area. And it kind of lets you like lean on that more, or like focus your mind on that more. And basically, the first thing everybody is going to know about their astrology is the triad, the three signs that make up who you are. So the three main signs. So that's going to be your ascendant, which is also known as your rising sign, the sun sign, and that's based on the date you were born, and then the moon sign, which is your based on like the location you were born. So what are these three? Ascendant is the sun, which is what everybody knows is the ego. It's who we are on the basic level. Like it represents our career, represents our father, represents our creative potential, and it kind of defines like the main core of us. And the moon sign is basically who you are at home. So the moon sign is what your mom sees, your boyfriend sees, your kids see, but not necessarily the people that you work with. So this is going to be like what you need emotionally to be happy, what your emotional tendencies are like, and also what you kind of fall back on a lot. And looking at this is really important for compatibility purposes, because you want to make sure that the person that you're with or like you're living with is compatible with your emotional needs. The rising sign or the ascendant is what all astrologers will say is the most important part in astrology, is because it's the mask that you wear on this incarnation. It's the life path that you decided to walk when you got here. So it's the way that people see you, the first impression that you make. So you are rising sign Leo, sun sign Virgo, and moon sign Libra. So what does that mean? That means that when people first see you, they see you as this boisterous, confident personality, someone who's not gonna let anybody else tell them what to do, the boss. One of the bad sides of Leo is like they might be too bossy or too pushy, but they're here to be center stage. They are here to create what they want to create, and they're the leaders. All like a lot of presidents are Leos, a lot of movie stars are Leos. Like they're very comfortable being with all eyes on them. Because you have your sun sign in Virgo, that's like an opposite energy. Virgos are very usually quiet and gentle, and they're very self-critical, whereas Leo's the most the most confident sign. It's, imagine the sun, how it's like the most heated planet. It's giving the most energy. It's the most stable, most reliable. You don't have to worry if the sun's gonna rise in the morning or set at night. So it's like the king of the universe. So it's like that energy. And then Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is looking at all the details all the time, making sure everything is correct in all the right places. And they're very usually self-critical, but the point of that is they're on a path of their mission, basically, like their thought process is they want to always strive to be better than they were before. They're always trying to be more perfect. And so, you know, at first it starts off as self-critiques and everything, so they're very hard on themselves. And then slowly, like, you know, all these little things that they work on, and they work on it slowly. They're not like a very fast sign. They're like little by little, they'll like bite off a different area that they want to improve, and little by little they like make all these improvements. They're like so beautiful, usually because they've been taking care of their body and their health, and like the little particulars that people usually like neglect, they've been like on top of it. So that's your sun sign. And you might identify more with your sun sign because you have all your planets in Virgo, but most of all your planets in Virgo. And Leo is kind of like, it's not really what you're doing. It's like this life path that you're on. It's like the way that you'll walk, the way that people will see you. It's kind of like a given. It's like the way, the persona that people see you as. Your moon sign is your most sensitive point. It's how you feel at home, what your needs are. Since you're Libra, you need to be in a relationship. You need to be relating with other people. That's how you find out what your own identity is, because you relate to somebody else. They'll tell you something, and then you understand how you feel based off of that. They're usually very easygoing. They don't want to like stir the bucket. They don't want to ruffle any feathers, because it's so important for them to maintain harmony. You think of the symbol for Libra as the scales. So if you throw one out of whack or whatever, it won't like stay stable. So in order to be happy, they need to have harmonious relationships. It's an air sign too, so air sign means communication. So communication is very important. So, okay, and then I'm gonna go through all the zodiac and the planets. So the first sign is Aries, and this Aries is ruled by Mars. And when you think of Mars, you think of a templar, like assertiveness, a soldier, and that's like some of the basic characteristics of Aries. Taurus is the next sign, which is ruled by Venus. So no, I should go back a little bit. Ruled by Venus. So Tauruses are usually like very beautiful, very like calm. They might be kind of lazy because Venus is all about enjoying like the luxuries in life and everything, whereas Mars is all about like hard work and everything. You can see like a Venus person laying on the couch watching TV, drinking wine. Gemini is the next sign, which is the sign of communication. It's ruled by Mercury. So this, and there's going to be another zodiac that's going to be ruled by Mercury, but these Geminis, and the other one is Virgo, they're usually really affected during a Mercury retrograde. And they're the signs of why is the sky blue? They're the first ones that start asking questions, and they're all about communication, about bridging people. They're the jokesters. They love puns. They love making puns with their words. And the next one is Cancer. Cancer is a sign of the home, of the mom. So whenever you see somebody who's a Cancer, they'll be nurturing, they'll bake cookies and stuff. They'll listen to you when you cry. They're all about family heritage. Then there's Leo. Cancer is ruled by the moon. So they're also called like moon babies, and they're like lunar, and they're actually really affected. They're one of the moodier signs because they're really affected by the moon, and the moon changes all the time. Then you have Leo, and this is the sign that's ruled by the sun. So Leo and Cancers are the only two signs in the zodiac that are only ruled by one planet. Every other planet has two zodiacs associated with it. So like you'll see, I'll show you later, but so Leo is like the most confident sign in the zodiac. It's the king. It's like when you think of royalty, somebody getting ordained royalty status without ever even having to work for it. They like usually like know they're special. They're usually like movie stars or like leaders. The next is Virgo. Virgo is a sign about critiquing. So look at how when you go from one sign to the next, it's kind of like the fall of the sign before. So Aries is hot-tempered, Taurus is lazy, Taurus is quiet, then Gemini starts asking the questions, Cancer is the home, Leo is the center stage, Virgo is actually behind the center stage, like they don't like a lot of attention on them. After that you have Libra. Okay, so Virgo is also ruled by Mercury. So Mercury is rules both Gemini and Virgo. Libra is ruled by Venus. Libra is a sign also of beauty and communication and of ease, of harmony. Kim Kardashian is Libra, so it's like, you know, the sign of beauty or whatever. She's always sleeping, so they're like kind of like more relaxed and lazy and easygoing. Scorpio is a sign, so Libra is a sign of relationships. The next sign is Scorpio, is the death of relationships. They rule like also divorces, so they rule sex, death, and rebirth, and they rule astrology too. So whenever somebody comes to an astrologer, the main reason is because they've had some kind of a crisis and they need answers. They're like, nothing's making sense. And usually like you'll hear these stories where you know, somebody almost died and then they saw the light at the end of the tunnel and then they came back or something, where it's like that's when you reach your enlightenment, your awakening. And then, but it's also like the sign of crisis. So like a lot of Scorpios, like they're very like quiet because they have like they don't want to tell everybody about all the stuff they have going on. So they always have this hectic life, and after the hecticness comes Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the sign of high hopes. It's the sign of it's ruled by Jupiter. So Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto, and then Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is like my favorite planet. It's like the planet of good luck, good fortune, just being at the right place at the right time, like exuberance and faith, you know, going big. Wherever you have Jupiter, you might have more of it, anything like if you have Jupiter in the second house, that's money. So like everybody wants that. They want to have Jupiter in the second house. But you'll notice like a lot of Sagittarius, they'll have big thighs so that they can go wander, because Sagittarius is also the sign of like the wanderer, the one who's going to different countries and meeting different cultures and stuff. After that is Capricorn. Capricorn is the sign of structure, of the CEO, of the boss, of the president, but like a CEO of the company instead of like the limelight of the president. So somebody, like whenever we had corporate visits and everything, that's very Capricornian. They're like telling us what to do, what's wrong, like you have to limit this, you have to limit that, or whatever. So it's the sign of, and it's ruled by Saturn, which is the planet of restrictions, of doing things over and over again, doing things slowly, whereas like Mars is like doing everything really, really fast. And Venus is enjoying everything that you're doing. Saturn, you're not just enjoying anything. Then you have Aquarius, which is, so see, it's the death of Capricorn. It's the death of this having this hierarchical like order of things. So it's like you have the lower class and you have the upper class and you have to climb this ladder. Aquarius is like everyone's equal. Aquarius is a sign of electronics, of humanitarian efforts. The Martin Luther King movement was like or the civil rights movement also is very Aquarius, of communal living. So it's like not about like having your own place, but it's like we're all in this together and we're like share living space and stuff. It's about like the internet is Aquarius. Bitcoins is Aquarius, like futuristic. It's the opposite of Leo's, which is like ego-centered. Aquarius is like people-centered. And then the last sign is Pisces, and